Have you ever flirted with someone thinking they were just an ordinary person, only to discover they were hiding a secret that could change your life forever? Hello, beautiful souls. Before we dive into today's story, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? And if you love romance stories that make your heart race, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more captivating tales. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. Now let's begin. The penthouse suite buzzed with laughter and clinking champagne glasses. Crystal chandeliers cast golden light across marble floors, and the scent of expensive perfume mingled with fresh roses. Maya Chen stood near the floor-to-ceiling windows, watching the city lights twinkle 30 floors below. She tugged at the hem of her emerald cocktail dress, borrowed from her best friend Sarah, and wondered, not for the first time, why she'd agreed to come. "You need to get out more," Sarah had insisted that morning. "This party is exclusive. Everyone who's anyone in the city will be there." Maya wasn't anyone. She was a 26-year-old graphic designer who spent most evenings with her cat, Mr. Whiskers, and a good book. But Sarah had pulled strings to get her an invitation, and Maya couldn't disappoint her friend. The party celebrated the opening of Luminaire, the city's newest luxury hotel. Maya had to admit, it was stunning. Everything screamed wealth and sophistication, from the white orchids on every surface to the live jazz quartet in the corner. "Excuse me, miss." A smooth, deep voice broke through her thoughts. "You look like you could use a drink." Maya turned, and her breath caught. The man before her wore the hotel's bartender uniform, a crisp white shirt with rolled-up sleeves and a black vest. But the uniform couldn't hide his presence. He stood tall, with broad shoulders and an athletic build that suggested he worked out regularly. Dark hair fell slightly across his forehead, and when he smiled, dimples appeared in his cheeks. His eyes were the colour of warm honey, framed by thick lashes that most women would envy. But it was the way he looked at her that made Maya's pulse quicken. Those honey eyes held intelligence, humour, and something else. An intensity that made her feel like she was the only person in the room. Maya cleared her throat. "Yes, actually. That would be nice. What can I get you?" He leaned slightly forward, close enough that she caught his scent, clean soap mixed with something woodsy and masculine. "Surprise me." The words tumbled out before Maya could stop them. She never said things like that. She was the girl who always ordered the same vanilla latte, who colour-coded her planner, who avoided surprises. His smile widened. "Brave. I like that." He extended his hand. "I'm Alexander, but most people call me Alex." "Maya!" She placed her hand in his, and electricity shot up her arm. His palm was warm, his grip firm but gentle. He held her hand a moment longer than necessary, his thumb brushing across her knuckles before releasing her. "Beautiful name for a beautiful woman." He said it without the sleazy undertone most pickup lines carried. His voice held genuine warmth. "Wait here, Maya. I'll create something special for you." She watched him walk toward the bar, admiring the confident way he moved. Several women tracked his progress across the room, but his gaze flickered back to Maya once, catching her watching him. He winked, and she felt heat rise to her cheeks. "Girl, who is that?" Sarah appeared at her elbow, practically vibrating with excitement. "And why didn't you tell me you knew the hot bartender?" "I just met him," Maya whispered. "Like 30 seconds ago." "Well, the way he's looking at you, I'd say you made quite an impression." Sarah squeezed her arm. "I need to schmooze with some clients, but text me if anything interesting happens." She disappeared into the crowd with a knowing smile. Maya returned her attention to the bar. Alex moved with practiced ease, selecting bottles, measuring, shaking. His movements were fluid, almost artistic. When he poured her drink into a coupe glass and garnished it with a sprig of lavender, several people at the bar craned their necks to see. He navigated back through the crowd, balancing her drink with one hand. "For you," he said, presenting it with a flourish. "A midnight garden. Gin, elderflower, lavender, fresh lemon, and a secret ingredient I'll never reveal." Maya accepted the glass, her fingers brushing his. The drink was pale purple, almost glowing in the chandelier light. She inhaled. Lavender and citrus danced in her nose, then took a sip. The flavours burst across her tongue, complex and perfectly balanced, with a hint of sweetness at the end. "This is incredible," she breathed. "You're seriously talented." "I've had a lot of practice." Something flickered in his eyes, amusement maybe, or a private joke. "So, Maya, what brings you to Luminaire's grand opening? Are you in hospitality?" "God, no," she laughed. "I'm a graphic designer. My friend Sarah dragged me here. She works in PR and thought I needed to, and I quote, remember what the outside world looks like." Alex chuckled, a rich sound that made her stomach flip. "Are you really that much of a homebody? I have a cat named Mr. Whiskers, and my ideal Friday night involves sweatpants and a good book." Maya surprised herself with her honesty. "This," she gestured at the party, "isn't really my scene." "No." He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "What is your scene?" "Coffee shops with worn furniture and indie music, museums when they're nearly empty, little bookstores that smell like old paper and possibility." She met his eyes. "Quiet places where you can actually talk to someone without shouting over music." "That sounds perfect." The sincerity in his voice made her chest tighten. "This hotel has a private library on the 15th floor. It's not open to the public tonight, but—" He glanced around, then leaned in conspiratorially. "If you wanted to escape this chaos, I could show you. No one would miss me for 20 minutes. Maya's heart hammered. She should say no. She'd just met this man. But something about Alex made her want to be reckless, to be the kind of woman who said yes to adventure. "Won't you get in trouble?" she asked. "Leaving your post?" That amused glint returned to his eyes. "I think I can manage it. So, what do you say, Maya? Want to see something beautiful?" She set down her empty glass. "Lead the way." Alex guided her through the crowd with a gentle hand on the small of her back. His touch sent shivers up her spine. They slipped into a service elevator, and he pressed the button for the 15th floor. As the doors closed, Maya became hyper-aware of his presence. In the enclosed space, his woodsy scent surrounded her. She could see the faint stubble along his jaw, the way his throat moved when he swallowed. "So," she said, desperate to break the charged silence, "how long have you been bartending?" "A while." He turned those honey eyes on her. "But I've done lots of things. Business management, investment analysis, even some construction work one summer." "Construction? Really?" "Mm-hmm. Built my character." He grinned. "There's something satisfying about creating something physical, you know? Seeing the results of your work." "I know exactly what you mean. That's why I love design. Taking an idea and making it real." Maya tilted her head. "You don't seem like your typical bartender." "What does a typical bartender seem like?" "I don't know. You just seem different. More—" She struggled for the word. "Mysterious?" he supplied, his eyes dancing. "Confident," she corrected, "like you've seen more of the world than the inside of a bar." "Maybe I have." The elevator dinged and the doors opened. "Maybe I'll tell you about it someday." The library took Maya's breath away. Dark wood shelves stretched from floor to ceiling, filled with leather-bound books. Soft lighting illuminated reading nooks with plush velvet chairs. A stone fireplace crackled with real flames, and large windows offered a panoramic view of the city. "Oh my God," Maya whispered, moving toward the shelves reverently. "This is gorgeous." "I thought you'd appreciate it." Alex watched her with an expression she couldn't quite read. Fond, pleased, something deeper. She ran her fingers along the spines, reading titles: classic literature, modern fiction, poetry, philosophy. "These are first editions," she said, awed. "Some of these must be worth thousands." "The owner is a book lover." Alex moved to stand beside her. He wanted to create a space where guests could experience literature the way it was meant to be, as something precious and tactile. The owner sounds interesting. He has his moments. Was that humour in his voice? Maya pulled out a volume of Pablo Neruda's poetry and opened it carefully. The pages smelled of vanilla and thyme. I love you without knowing how or when or from where, she read softly. I love you simply, without problems or pride. When she looked up, Alex was staring at her with an intensity that made her knees weak. You read poetry, he said. Not a question. Always, it's like concentrated emotion. Every word matters. She closed the book gently. Do you read? Constantly. Whenever I can. He reached past her, his chest briefly pressing against her shoulder, and pulled down another book. Have you read this? The Alchemist. One of my favourites. The whole universe conspiring to help you achieve your dreams. That's beautiful. Or terrifying, Alex said quietly. What if the universe conspires and you're still too scared to reach for what you want? The air between them felt electric. Maya's breath quickened. They stood inches apart, and she could see gold flecks in his honey eyes. What do you want? She whispered. Instead of answering, he reached up and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. His fingers lingered on her cheek, and Maya's eyes fluttered closed at the gentle touch. Right now? His voice was rough. To kiss you. But I'm trying to be a gentleman. Her eyes opened. Maybe I don't want you to be a gentleman. The words hung between them for a heartbeat. Then Alex cupped her face in both hands and kissed her. It was soft at first, questioning. But when Maya responded, rising on her toes and gripping his vest, the kiss deepened. His arms wrapped around her waist, pulling her closer. She felt the strength in his body, the controlled power, but his touch remained tender, almost reverent. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Alex rested his forehead against hers. That was... he started. Yeah, she agreed, unable to form coherent thoughts. His phone buzzed in his pocket, shattering the moment. He pulled it out, glanced at the screen and grimaced. I'm sorry. I have to. There's a situation downstairs. Of course. Maya stepped back, trying to slow her racing heart. Your job. You should go. I don't want to. He looked genuinely pained. Maya, can I see you again? Tomorrow? Anywhere you want? Really? Really? I don't care if it's a coffee shop, a museum, a bookstore. Hell, we can sit in a park if you want. I just want to spend time with you. He pulled out his phone. What's your number? She gave it to him, and he called it immediately so she'd have his. Tomorrow, 2:00, Crescent Moon Cafe, she suggested. It's this tiny place in the West End with mismatched furniture and the best cappuccino in the city. I know it. His smile could have powered the whole hotel. It's perfect. Another buzz from his phone, more insistent. Go, Maya said, before you get fired. Not likely. That mysterious amusement again. He kissed her forehead quickly. I'll walk you back downstairs. The next afternoon, Maya arrived at Crescent Moon Cafe 15 minutes early, wearing jeans and her favourite sweater, the soft blue one that Sarah said made her eyes pop. She'd spent an embarrassing amount of time on her hair and makeup, finally settling for effortlessly pretty, though the effort had been anything but effortless. Alex arrived exactly at 2, wearing dark jeans and a grey Henley that hugged his physique. He looked different in casual clothes, younger, more relaxed but no less breathtaking. Hi, she said, suddenly shy. Hi yourself. He kissed her cheek, then held out a small bouquet of wildflowers. For you. Maya's heart melted. No one had ever brought her flowers before. They're beautiful. They ordered drinks, cappuccinos for both, and settled into a worn leather couch in the corner. For the next 3 hours, they talked about everything. Maya learned that Alex loved old movies, especially film noir, that he'd travelled extensively through South America and Asia, that he'd lost his mother when he was 15 and still missed her every day. In turn, she told him about growing up in a small town, about her complicated relationship with her perfectionist father, about the sketches she filled notebooks with but never showed anyone. "Show me," Alex said. "What?" "No, they're just doodles." "Maya," he took her hand. "Show me." Reluctantly, she pulled out the small sketchbook she always carried. Alex flipped through it slowly, studying each page with genuine interest. Her designs ranged from book covers to fashion illustrations to architectural sketches. "These are incredible," he said finally. "You have real talent. Have you ever thought about freelancing? Starting your own design firm?" "That's a pipe dream. The startup costs alone." "What if money wasn't an issue?" He leaned forward intently. "What would you do?" Maya thought about it. "I'd rent a small studio space, maybe hire an intern, focus on designing for independent bookstores and small publishers, people who care about art, not just profit margins." "You should do it," says the bartender to the broke designer, she teased. Something flickered across his face. "About that. Maya, I need to tell you something." "Oh my God!" A high-pitched voice cut through the cafe's ambient noise. A blonde woman in designer clothes stood over them, staring at Alex with wide eyes. "Alexander Hartford, is that you?" Alex's jaw tightened. "Charlotte. I thought that was you at the party last night, but you disappeared so fast, and I thought, no way. Why would Alexander Hartford be tending bar at his own hotel?" She laughed, a brittle sound. "Wait, was that some kind of undercover boss thing?" Maya's blood ran cold. "What?" Charlotte finally seemed to notice her. "Oh, sweetie, please tell me you knew. Alex here isn't just any bartender, he's the Alexander Hartford, as in Hartford Hotels, as in billionaire real estate mogul." The cafe tilted. Maya stared at Alex, at Alexander Hartford apparently, and watched guilt wash over his face. "Maya," he started, reaching for her hand. She jerked away, standing abruptly. "You lied to me." "I didn't lie. I just didn't. You let me think you were a bartender. I told you things, Her voice cracked. The kiss in the library, the flowers, the conversation they'd just had about money not being an issue. It all crashed over her, humiliating and painful. "Maya, please, let me explain." "Explain what?" "That you thought it would be fun to play pretend with the naive girl who doesn't know who anyone is." Tears burned her eyes. "I have to go." "Maya, wait." But she was already gone, pushing through the cafe door and onto the street. Behind her, she heard Alex call her name, but she kept walking, then running, until she couldn't hear him anymore. Maya spent that evening curled on her couch with Mr. Whiskers, crying into his orange fur. Her phone buzzed constantly, calls and texts from Alex that she ignored. Finally, she turned it off. "Men are terrible," she told the cat, who purred sympathetically. At 9 o'clock, someone knocked on her door. Maya ignored it, but the knocking persisted, followed by Alex's voice. "Maya, please, just give me 5 minutes. After that, if you want me to leave, I'll never bother you again." "Go away! I'll stand here all night if I have to. Your neighbours are already giving me looks." Damn it. Mrs. Jane next door was the biggest gossip in the building. Maya stomped to the door and yanked it open. Alex looked terrible. His hair stuck up like he'd been running his hands through it, his eyes were rimmed with red, and his expression was absolutely devastated. "Talk," Maya said coldly. "You have 5 minutes." "Can I come in?" 4 minutes and 50 seconds. He sighed. "Fine. Maya, I'm sorry, I should have told you who I was from the beginning. But do you know what it's like being Alexander Hartford? No, funnily enough. I don't know what it's like to be a billionaire." "Everyone wants something," he continued, his voice strained. "Business deals, investments, donations, introductions. Women have pretended to love me for access to my money or my connections. I can't have a normal conversation without someone Googling me mid-sentence to see what I'm worth." Despite her anger, Maya felt a flicker of sympathy. "Last night I was at that party meeting investors, shaking hands, playing the part," Alex said. "I was exhausted. So I went behind the bar to make myself a drink. I trained as a bartender in college, loved it actually, and then you appeared." He stepped closer, and Maya's traitorous heart skipped. "You looked lost and beautiful and real," he said softly. "And when I talked to you, you didn't see Alexander Hartford, heir to a hotel empire. You saw Alex, some bartender you could flirt with without any ulterior motives. Do you know how intoxicating that was? So you lied. I omitted the truth, which I know isn't much better." He ran a hand through his hair. "But everything else was real, Maya. The connection we had, the conversation in the library, the kiss." His voice dropped. "God, especially the kiss. That was the most real thing I've felt in years." Maya's eyes stung with fresh tears. "How am I supposed to trust you now? How do I know you're not just playing another game?" "You can't," Alex admitted. "Not unless you give me a chance to prove it. Maya, I'm not asking you to forgive me right now. I'm asking for a chance to earn your trust back." "Why should I?" "Because in one evening you saw more of the real me than people I've known for years. Because when you talked about your dreams, I wanted to make them all come true. Because when I kissed you, I felt like I'd been waiting my whole life for that moment." He pulled something from his pocket. A small sketchbook, which she must have left at the cafe. "And because I went back to the cafe to get this, even though the owner tried to charge me $50 for it." Despite everything, Maya felt her lips twitch. "Did you pay it?" "Hell no. I explained who you were, how talented you are, and he gave it to me for free, plus a promise that you'd design new menus for his cafe." Alex held out the sketchbook. "Which, if you're open to it, I'd like to be your first freelance client. I need someone to redesign the branding for Hartford Hotel's boutique line. Full creative control, proper compensation, contract through legitimate channels." Maya took the sketchbook, their fingers brushing. "You're really serious about that?" "Completely. You're talented, Maya. The world should see your work." He paused. "But I'm not offering it to win you back. I'm offering it because you're the right person for the job. Whether you want anything to do with me personally is entirely up to you." She studied his face, searching for deception and finding only raw honesty. Mr. Whiskers chose that moment to appear, winding between Alex's legs and purring loudly. "Traitor," Maya muttered to the cat. Alex bent down and scratched Mr. Whiskers behind the ears. "You must be the famous Mr. Whiskers. Pleased to meet you, sir." The cat's purr intensified, and Maya felt her resistance crumbling. "Damn it. If I give you another chance," she said slowly, "things have to be different. No more secrets, no more omissions. I need complete honesty." "Done." Alex stood, hope flickering in his eyes. "And we take things slow. Really slow. Dates in public places. Getting to know each other as who we actually are." "Whatever you want." "And," she pointed at him sternly, "if you ever pretend to be someone you're not again, I will put Mr. Whiskers' litter box on your pillow." Alex laughed, the sound filled with relief. "Understood. So does this mean—" "This means you can come in and meet Mr. Whiskers properly," Maya said, stepping aside. "And maybe, if you're very lucky, I'll make you tea." "I would love that." He paused at the threshold. "Maya, thank you. For giving me another chance. I won't waste it." As he stepped into her small apartment, looking around at her mismatched furniture and overflowing bookshelves with genuine interest, Maya realized something. Maybe the universe did conspire to help you achieve your dreams, sometimes in the most unexpected ways. "So," Alex said, settling onto her couch with Mr. Whiskers immediately claiming his lap, "tell me more about these designs you want to create." And as Maya curled up beside him, their shoulders touching, and began describing her vision for the cafe menus, she felt something shift in her chest. This, Alex's attentive expression, the purring cat, the comfortable warmth of her own space, this was real. Maybe, just maybe, she'd found something worth taking a risk for. Maya stood in the middle of her new studio space, hands on her hips surveying the progress. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, illuminating the drafting table Alex had insisted on buying her. It's a business expense, he'd argued, even though they both knew he was just being generous. Her first projects lined the walls, the cafe menus which had turned out beautifully, and the preliminary designs for Hartford Hotel's boutique line, which Alex's board had approved enthusiastically. The door opened and Alex walked in carrying 2 coffee cups and a brown paper bag. "Special delivery," he announced. "Cappuccinos from Crescent Moon and those almond croissants you love." "My hero." Maya accepted her coffee and kissed him. Even after 3 months, kissing Alex still made her stomach flutter. They'd taken things slow, just as she'd insisted. Real dates, movies, museums, bookstores, and yes, more coffee shops. He'd introduced her to his world gradually, preparing her for the media attention and the scrutiny that came with dating Alexander Hartford. She'd met his younger sister Sophie, who'd immediately declared Maya the best thing that ever happened to my stuffy brother. In turn, Maya had introduced Alex to her family. Her father had been skeptical until Alex spent 2 hours discussing literature with him, proving he was more than just money and good looks. "How's it going?" Alex asked, looking at her current project, a book cover design for an independent publisher. "Good. Really good, actually." Maya leaned into his side and his arm wrapped around her automatically. "Thank you. For believing in me." "You did this yourself, Maya. I just provided the push." He kissed the top of her head. "Although, speaking of pushes, I have something to ask you." "Oh, that sounds serious." "Not serious. Well, maybe a little serious." He turned her to face him, suddenly looking nervous in a way she'd rarely seen. "Hartford Hotels is opening a new property in Paris next spring. Boutique hotel, very exclusive, focused on art and literature. I want you to design everything, the branding, the interiors, the guest experience." Maya's eyes widened. "Alex, that's huge, that's the perfect project for you," he finished. "But here's the thing. I'd need you in Paris for at least 3 months during development. And I was thinking..." He took a breath. "I was thinking I could come with you. Take a break from the day-to-day operations here, work remotely, actually spend time in one of my own hotels for once." "You'd do that?" "Maya, in the past 3 months you've become my favorite person." He cupped her face gently. "Where you are is where I want to be. If that's too much too fast, tell me and I'll..." She kissed him, cutting off his rambling. When she pulled back, she was smiling. "Yes." "Yes?" "Yes to Paris. Yes to you coming with me. Yes to all of it." She laughed at his stunned expression. "What? Didn't think the homebody would be up for adventure?" "I think you've been up for adventure this whole time." Alex grinned, that dimpled smile that still made her weak. "You just needed the right reason." "Or the right person," Maya corrected softly. As he pulled her close and kissed her again, Maya thought about that night at the party. She'd been a girl in a borrowed dress hiding by the windows, convinced she didn't belong, and then a handsome bartender had offered her a drink and changed everything. Maybe the universe did conspire to help you achieve your dreams, and maybe sometimes those dreams came with honey-coloured eyes, a devastating smile, and a heart that chose to see you, really see you, when the whole world was looking the other way. "I love you," Alex whispered against her lips. Maya's heart soared. They hadn't said those words yet, both scared of moving too fast, of ruining what they'd built, but hearing them now felt perfect, felt right. "I love you too," she whispered back, "even if you do have terrible judgment in initial meeting tactics." His laugh echoed through the studio, warm and free, and Maya knew this was just the beginning of their story. And there you have it, beautiful souls. Sometimes the best love stories start with a little mystery, don't they? What did you think of Maya and Alex's journey? Have you ever discovered someone was completely different from who you thought they were? Share your stories in the comments below. I love reading them. If this story made you feel something, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a story. Thank you so much for spending these 30 minutes with me. Until next time, keep believing in love, keep taking chances, and remember, sometimes the person you're looking for is hiding in the most unexpected places. See you in the next one.